There are two things I fear in this world: ghosts and dogs. And before you say anything, yes, I know what you're thinking. But dogs are so cute and fluffy, how can anyone be scared of them? Well, before you judge me for my totally rational fear of dogs, let me walk you through the traumatic experiences that made me the frightened man I am now. Now, to fully understand and sympathize with my fear of dogs, we need to go back to the start of it all, my childhood. I grew up in a house with a strict policy of no pets. My mum hated the idea of having little rascals running around the house creating a mess. But then she decided to have 2 kids, so make it make sense, Mum. Because of this, I had never been exposed to animals in the house, unless you count my sister. Now, imagine my fear when I had to face a dog for the first time in my life. We lived in a house only a couple of minutes away from a playground, so my sister and I would mostly spend our days playing around there. Now, one Wednesday is when everything changed. Like every other day, my sister and I are walking to the playground. Only this time, we were greeted by death. Okay, it was just a dog, but for dramatic effect, please play along. But there it was, the fluffy creature perched up on top of the slide, acting like it owned the world. I sat on the bench faced with a dilemma. I had 2 options: walk back home and live with regret for the rest of my life, or to face my fears and go down the slide and show the dog who really owned the park. Now in the moment I wanted to be a hero for all the frightened kids out there in the world. So next time they were scared to do something, they'll think back to this exact moment and tell themselves, if Klaxy can do it, so can I. So that's exactly what I did. I climbed up on that slide, took a deep breath in, and slid my way down. I felt invincible. I had finally done it. I overcame my fears. That feeling lasted all of 3 seconds. So as panic settled in, I found myself running for dear life. The barks grew closer and closer, and my screams grew louder and louder. Next thing I remember was my sister comforting me as I sat there, convinced I had just narrowly escaped death. I think it was safe to say I never stood foot in that park again. Before you judge me for being a 19-year-old scared of dogs, hear me out. Trust me, I've tried everything in my power to face this fear of mine, but nothing seemed to help my crippling fear of dogs. The worst part of it was getting teased. Instead of receiving support for my trauma, I was instead bombarded with laughter every time a dog would jump on me. If only they knew what I'd gone through. Now for anyone that knows me, knows there's one thing I take very seriously: my personal space. I hate the thought of people touching me or getting too close. And what are dogs notoriously known for? Exactly that. I have no problems with admiring a cute dog, but at a safe distance. Look, my thought process is that when you go visit the lion sanctuary at the zoo, do you jump into the enclosure and start petting them? No. Well, the same goes for dogs. Some things are better off far away. God knows when it became normal to keep wild animals in the house, but whoever came up with that idea must have been out of their mind. I don't know whether it's the way I've been raised or the fact that I'm the only sane person left in the world. I personally believe that anything furry that walks on 4 legs does not belong in the house. About a year ago, one of my best friends adopted a dog, a cute little Labrador by the name of Hazel. Now maybe over the years I'd started to learn to be more accepting of dogs. Don't get me wrong, I still haven't forgotten the park incident. But when my friend introduced me to Hazel and I held her for the first time in my arms, I felt something change in me. Her cute eyes stared back at me, and for the first time in my life, I felt love for a dog. Over the weeks, Hazel and I grew closer and closer. We would play together, go on walks together, but then out of nowhere, she hit puberty. Every time I saw her, she would grow 2 inches in size. But the worst was her shiny new chompers. So one day, I go to see her, but instead of welcoming me with her cute puppy eyes, she bites me. Yep, bites me. Suddenly all the memories start rushing back. I stand there staring at Hazel, feeling betrayed. She broke my heart. And from that day forward, my trust in dogs was shattered even more. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, he doesn't like dogs because he's just had bad luck with them. These stories aren't the only reason I fear dogs. As scary as dogs may be, there's another reason why I would never keep them as pets. And that's their filthiness. Look, call me OCD, but I like being clean. So when a dog covered in mud and fleas jumps in my bed, that annoys me. Most of my friends call me a clean freak. Me personally, I think I'm normal for not wanting an animal running their dirty paws on the pillow I sleep on. Another reason why dogs are a handful is because they require constant attention. Have you ever thought that maybe I don't enjoy throwing around a stick and catching it in my mouth as much as you do? Feeding, walking, cleaning up after them. It's like having a toddler that never grows up. They roll around in mud, shed fur, step and poop, and then trot into your house leaving dirty prints everywhere and plop themselves on your couch while you have to clean up their mess. I hate cleaning up after myself. What makes you think I'd want to clean up after you? I can barely remember to feed myself most days. How on earth am I supposed to remember to feed myself and my dog? So truthfully, I think it's better for the world if I don't own a pet, because we'd probably both end up dying of starvation. Most people would call me irresponsible. I prefer the term selfish. Also, do you know how expensive it is to own a pet? You're telling me I have to take my dog to the vet every month when I myself haven't gone to the doctors in over 2 years? Psh, keep dreaming, mate. Not only vet bills, there's also feeding your dog. You'd think it's simple to feed a dog, but nope. Back in the caveman days, dogs would go hunt for their own food. Now you're telling me my dog demands a 5-star meal catered to him every night while I'm eating 2-minute noodles for every meal? Then there's grooming the dog. I'd even pay this much attention to my own hair. Oh, and let's not forget about all the things dogs destroy. Furniture, toys, remotes, doors. My friend's dog once chewed through half of his jandal. Like, excuse me, are you not being fed enough that you've resorted to eating footwear? It's like, sure, thanks for the free food and belly rubs, but I'm still gonna munch on your shoes for dessert. The fact that dogs aren't potty trained is still bizarre to me. You'd think with all the tricks dogs can learn, surely someone would have figured out how to teach them to use a toilet by now. Sit, roll over, bark, toilet. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I don't hate dogs. I just would rather not have an animal eating my belongings or invading my personal space. I'd like to think I've come a long way from the frightened little boy I was to the slightly less frightened man I am now. I've grown a somewhat tolerance for dogs, meaning when I see them on the streets, I don't run the other way and start screaming. Only if it's a really scary dog. Being the brave man I am, I've even petted a few dogs in my time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be a dog owner anytime soon. Maybe we can start with something small, like a goldfish, and work our way up. Hopefully one day I'll find the courage to adopt a little furball of mine, as long as it comes with a will not bite guarantee. But until then, I will continue to admire these cute creatures from a safe, non-threatening distance. And remember, if you ever see me running away from a dog, just know it's not out of fear. I just really value my personal space.